Good morning, beautiful lady. This is Nancy here to talk to you again. Today, I want to encourage you to get some support. Now, first of all, I'm sorry about this dinging, and I hope that it will stop. I don't know of a way for it to stop. What's happening is my little girl, Honey, here, my little dog, she's in the passenger seat today, and apparently it is sensing her weight because my seatbelt is on, but I still am getting this alert. So hopefully you can tune that out. All right, so today what I want to talk about is that right now I am a primary support for you, and that is a blessing to me. I love my career. It's taken a long time to bring this program to fruition. It is something that I'm very good at, helping people with anxiety. So it is a blessing for me to be able to support you. However, this program is obviously 90 days long, and I want you to have some support even when you're not with me. So I want you to just kind of be thinking about that. This is not a conversation that you need to have with anyone right away this week. I just want you to be thinking about it. Now, when I counsel people that are recovering from drugs and alcohol, we always talk to them, and I say we, meaning professionals and laymen in support groups, that no, it's not beneficial for you to tell everyone all the details of your struggles and, your business, so to speak, with your addiction. But you better tell somebody, right? There better be someone rather than no one. And the reason is it's so beneficial if they have one person that they can share their thoughts, their struggles, and what they're doing. So unlike a diet, when people say, I never want to tell anybody I'm dieting because what if I don't follow through, and what if I'm not successful, and then everybody's going to ask me, and that's going to be like too much pressure for me. The same thing applies with anxiety, okay? So if you have a mother that is really caring, you may not want to go to your mother about your anxiety if she is a person that worries a lot. So if she really wrings her hands, right, and she worries a lot, she may ask you 20 questions all the time about your anxiety. And that's going to be overkill for you, and that's not going to be helpful, okay? It's going to be smothering or micromanaging, or it's going to make you irritated, okay? Like, why does every conversation now have to be about my anxiety? So that wouldn't be a great person, okay? Another example is if you're in a high-power job, which I know that some of you in this round are. If you're in a high-powered position job, you may not want to talk to a coworker, your right-hand man, or a supervisor about that you have to step outside or step to the bathroom because you're about to have a panic attack. That may not be useful, okay, for your career. So I really want you to think about it. Now, most of the time people say, well, I want to pick the person that I trust the most and that is closest to me, and that would be my spouse or my partner or my roommate, right? Whatever your relationship is. But I would encourage it to not be that person. And the reason why is because, especially when we're housed with someone, there's almost like an automatic assumption that we feel like we're somewhat responsible for the other person. It just happens when you're housed together, okay? It's a dynamic of environment, okay? And I think it's really good to be able to share something not with your spouse. Again, even within the context of marriage or committed relationship, you do have the right to confidentiality. Confidentiality is something that isn't going to hurt the other person. It's not lying by omission. It's not lying by omission is when you are holding something that they really should know because it affects them. Okay, it's like a dirty little secret. Anxiety and all of the things that, all the properties that go into anxiety, how it manifests, that is not a dirty little secret. That is not something that you need to reveal to everybody all the time. And in fact, some spouses, just like I was talking about a mother, end up worrying and taking that on so much that it stresses them out. Okay? And then again, they'll be asking about it a lot. And so it's better often to say, hey, I'm learning so much in this program. I'll share something with you, one of the techniques I'm supposed to be working on this week, or I listened to this, what Nancy said this weekend. It was really getting me to think about things, right? So you share what you're working on. You don't necessarily need to share with your struggles, and you can share that with someone else, because sometimes we have something so big that we need to spread it around, right? So have you ever had a friend that's depressed and they keep on calling you and calling you and calling you, and you're like, wow, I think I'm getting depressed because they're depressed, right? This is starting to affect my mental health. And that can happen when people don't spread it around, right? So that person would either need to find not just you as a friend, but maybe they would need to talk to their spouse about it a little bit, or a friend a little bit, or go to a professional and talk about it a lot, which of course would be my recommendation. But sometimes it is really good to not have that main supportive person to be your spouse. And again, that's not shutting him out. It's not being rude or disrespectful. It's not saying, I don't have a good relationship with this person because I'm not sharing every aspect of my life. That's not true at all. Okay, so I want you to think about that as this program goes on. Who could support you, and what would be something that would be good for them to say or not helpful for them to say? What would be something really great for them to do to help you, or not great to do? And as you approach the person, you can talk to them in that way. Okay, and this is what I started doing this years ago when I started out in addiction, and I started realizing that people would just go up and be like, hey, can you be my sponsor, right? And a sponsor is someone at an AA or NA person, if you don't know, some sort of 12-step group, and you go up to that person, and that's going to be like your main support person. That's going to be the person that you call if you want to take a drink, that sort of thing. And sometimes the person would not be a good fit for them. So what I did is I started talking to my clients about, let's slow down. I do want you to get a sponsor. I think that's a great idea, but let's slow down and think about how you react to certain types of support. Like, do you love it if someone gives you a hug, or are you like, hey, that's too personal? Okay. Do you love it if someone calls you and asks you, have you been doing your step work, or how many meetings, or if you don't go to a meeting, do you want somebody to call and say, hey, where were you at? Or do you not like that? Do you think that's micromanaging, and I will call them when, I need them? I don't want them calling me, that sort of thing. Okay. So once we started working that out and people actually wrote it out on paper, like, yeah, this is how I think someone could support me really well, and these are things that I really don't like. Sometimes people would have looks, sometimes that they don't like, or like sayings that they felt was really derogatory, shaming, something that, like I had one person, they really didn't like if anyone ever kind of pointed their finger their way, because that was a bad childhood thing that they had with their dad. And I don't think many people do finger pointing today, so I think that's a kind of a rare occurrence. But it was good that it was something that came up, right? Or my mom used to say this and it was kind of derogatory, and so I don't want somebody else to say that. Or this person does this and it reminds me of my mother, and even though she is a good support to me, I don't want my supportive person to sound like my mother. Like, that's not going to be a good relationship with me. So don't overthink it, okay? And don't make it some burden. Oh God, Nancy's asking me to write all this, details down. I just want you to kind of hold it loosely in the back of your mind right now. And when you feel comfortable enough, start jotting a few things down. And if you can't think of how anyone can support you in your anxiety because you haven't really been supported in your anxiety, I want you to think about, are there other times that you did feel supported, heard, and respected? Supported, heard, and respected. Okay? And what were they doing or not doing, saying or not saying that you felt that way? And just take some notes, because then you can talk to the person about it. And it's not being mean. It's not being critical. It's just like, wow, you tell them, blame me, right? You say, oh, I'm in this program and this is what my therapist told me. And it seems kind of weird, or I feel kind of uncomfortable doing it, but I'm just really trying my best to follow the program and give it a shot, right? Do things that I haven't done before. And so I made up this list or these notes of ways that I have felt supported in the past, respected and heard, and things that really I don't need from someone. Would you be willing to maybe be a supportive person? Could we sit down and talk about it, and I could talk about what I need or not need? And some of you might just say, I would love for someone just to go out to coffee with me once a month, and that's when I talk about my anxiety. And any other conversations, I want to tell them I don't want anxiety to be on the table, so to speak. I don't want to talk about it. Just we keep it contained to that once a month so it doesn't affect all of our friendship, and that can be really encouraging. Okay? All right, so I hope that all of you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Remember, clarity in your mind, gratefulness in your heart, so that both of us can have a blissful day.